Hello, my name is Kevin Matthew, and this is my English 1135 film project analysis. Today, I will be analyzing the movie Goodfellas. This is one of my favorite movies that I have seen to date. Goodfellas is a true story. The movie is based off the book Wise Guy by Nicholas Pileggi. This movie is a crime drama, and it's a story about a guy named Henry Hill and his history with the mob from a period of 1955 to 1980. Henry starts off as a poor kid struggling in school and being punished by his parents always. Henry leaves to work for a mob and enjoys all the luxuries of it. The only thing that brought his run to a stop was his drug addiction and other mistakes and paranoia. Goodfellas is a movie directed by Martin Scorsese. In my opinion, I think this is one of the greatest mob films ever made. The movie received so many positive reviews and was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. This picture, it's Henry and Karen, his wife. Something I found very interesting was the movie wasn't just all dialogue between the characters. They had narrations throughout the movie by Henry and Karen. This narration is cool and unique because it gives the audience a real life insight of what life was like in the mob. It was almost as we were there with them, with the characters experiencing everything. The narrations also help the audience when they are confused because when the characters are narrating it, kind of explains why they are doing these things and what is going on throughout their heads. It makes everything also very believable, even though the story is already a true story. I'll be talking about the plot right now. In my opinion, I think the layout of the plot was kind of cool because it acts like us. We get memories of Henry's past and present times. It can seem messy at first when you're first watching the movie, but you could get used to it. The plot doesn't move from one scene to another. For example, when the movie starts out, we see Henry older in the mob. From the picture above, you could see they're trying to hide a body, but then the next scene, we get to see him as a teenager living with his parents. Now we'll be talking about character arcs. Above is a picture of Henry Hill. Some of the things I noticed the most of the characters in the movie are based off real names from the mob. The movie sticks to a lot of facts of the story that had many interviews with Henry Hill to tell his story clearly. They did tweak some things like some random names in some scenes. I think they did this because most of the real life people were in jail and they didn't want their names out in public because they probably wanted to get parole. Most of the story was real and it happened, but some of it was tweaked probably to entertain the audience. The title of the film was also unique, I found out, because according to Henry Hill, that is what they call one of their own. For example, when they are having a conversation with their mob associates and they're introducing someone new, they say, "He is one of us. You're going to like this guy. He's a good fella." Now I'll be talking about the theme of the movie. I think there are two themes to this movie, one being respect and the other being power. Respect is a big theme in this movie because all the gangsters rely on each other and they all need to have respect and an honorable reputation. The second theme is power because Henry would have never done this without all the money and power they had involved. For example, when he's a teenager, he would always watch Paul Cicero and his crew work across the street from his house. He saw them driving nice cars and wearing nice clothes. He wanted to be just like them. They had all the power and money in the world. When they went to prison, it was nothing like prison. They ran the prison because they had the guards on payroll the whole time. They had everything and could take everything, but at the same time, if they are not careful, they could lose everything. Now I'll be talking about the tone and the mood. This movie had many different tones. Some of the ones I thought represented the movie well was it had a violent mood, fast-paced and realistic. I say the movie had a violent mood because first, it is rated R. The movie also shows real life things Henry and his associates had to do to people. They had to kill many people and also steal. It also includes drugs use and the selling of drugs. It is very fast paced because we see Henry's teenage years very briefly, and it shows the major conflicts between the mob and Henry had to run into. The genre of Goodfellas, it had many different genres. The main one was it was a crime drama, and it was also a biography. Because they made the movie off a book and multiple interviews of Henry Hill, they did keep things out of the movie. The director did make up some things, like in the movie, they made killings more violent to entertain the audience. Most of what goes down is true in the movie, though. This is a crime drama because Henry Hill is a criminal trying to stay in the mob, and he also has two girlfriends, so that's where the drama part comes in. Now we'll be talking about the style. The style of the movie is very realistic. It shows us the real life experiences of the middle to lower management of the mob. Goodfellas has many genres including neorealism. Scorsese blends many genres from Italian neorealism using non-actors to French New Wave, freeze frames, voiceovers to create the film's incredible style. Throughout the movie, they also had improv and not just all the scripts like the scene when they are in the club and Henry and Tommy DeVito, his partner, argued. It was all improv, including the other actors' reactions. Something else I noticed was the characters went through insane detail and everything. They wanted to make the movie be so realistic, so they asked the real Henry Hill everything about what the characters do and how they dress. It made the movie seem so much more real and was like an exact reenactment of the story. Now I'm going to be talking about the lighting and color. According to the article by Great Saber, the lighting is kept deliberately dark, which Scorsese believed would add to the sordid atmosphere and reflect the fact that this was a world that operated in darkness. While not a formal innovation, Scorsese sought to edit and shoot the film in a very quick and abrupt way to heighten the drama. As you can see by the image above, this is a very dark scene, so it gave it a very suspenseful atmosphere. Also, at the time of its release, this became the film with the most on-screen profanity of all time. Scorsese has topped this record himself. Now I'm going to be talking about the cinematography. A lot of scenes had close-ups whenever money was in a scene. Money was always a recurring object throughout the movie. It was in a lot of scenes. Something I noticed that in the movie are a lot of close-ups whenever a character was going through a tough time. Like in the picture of Henry, we can see what effects the drugs did to him. The audience can see the shame from him of his wrongdoing because the mob isn't allowed to sell any drugs. Throughout the movie, I noticed many angle shots. Some shots were taken from a high angle to show the theme of power in the movie. It also has low angle shots, like when we are looking for from the perspective of the character. It feels like we are in the character's shoes. Many of the high angle shots were to show how intimidating characters were. Something else I noticed was the editing in the movie. It really helped set the mood because some scenes were cut a lot to show an important moment. The narration also explains the scenes. I'll be talking about the music now in Goodfellas. I found online that the director Scorsese handpicked the Goodfellas soundtrack all by himself. The music and sound throughout the movie made it very suspenseful because we worried what is going to happen next. All the music in the movie also relate to the scenes. Like in the movie, they play the song Rags to Riches, and in the movie we are seeing Henry climb the mob ranks. The music and sound throughout the movie make it more authentic, and it really sets the mood. One thing I noticed was the movie Goodfellas was pretty similar to the movie The Godfather. They had different plots, but they are both about mobs. The difference is The Godfather deals with the politics of upper management in the mob, where in Goodfellas it is middle to lower management of the mob. It shows Henry Hill progress his way throughout the ranks of the mob. Overall, Goodfellas is a great movie, probably one of my favorite movies because it shows us what life was really like in the mob compared to other movies. It was very entertaining and it shows us how being in a mob affects you as a person. Like The Godfather, Scorsese's Goodfellas is a long movie with the space and leisure to expand and explore its themes. It isn't about any particular plot, it's about what it felt like to be in the mafia, the good times and the bad times. This is what all movies should be like. It draws you in and won't let you out of its grasp at any point. When it finishes, you feel exhausted and exhilarated at the same time. If ever the word masterpiece was meant to be used, it was for this film.